was a much better performance for the Toronto Raptors as they beat the Miami Heat 101-81. And what a job it was for the Toronto Raptors after getting absolutely slaughtered in the last game and us saying how, they didn't play well whatsoever in that last game against the Miami Heat. We talked about it saying how you won 3 straight, you lost 1. Now let's see what they can do. Can they end the losing streak and start a new winning streak? That's what great teams do. And the Raptors, after that rough loss a couple nights ago, they went out there today against the same Miami Heat team and beat them down 101-81. The defense for the Toronto Raptors was absolutely stellar. Starting Norman Powell seems to be an absolute godsend every time it happens. And you saw a lot of great things in this game today for the Toronto Raptors. No Kyle Lowry in the game today. In the last, he's missed 2 games this season. They've won both. Quite interesting. But you can't say, well, he's the reason they're losing, because that's clearly not the case. But let's break this thing down, because the Raptors played a really solid contest all around. We'll get into everything here. First quarter, Norman Powell comes out, guns a-blazing. The first 16 points of the game, he had 10, I think it was. And he was on fire to start. Powell, the Raptors end up winning that first quarter 37-20. Insane. They're up by 17 after 1 quarter of play. The offense is cooking. The defensive intensity is all over the place. And they're corralling Bam Adebayo. They're doing a really good job. But it's only the first quarter. You can't get too full of yourselves. You got to find a way to play 48 minutes if you're the Toronto Raptors. In the second quarter, the offense goes ice cold. However, the defensive intensity continues to stay. You only allowed 22 in that second quarter. So you're only -3 in the quarter, but you're still up by 14 at halftime. So you're still doing all right. We go into the third quarter. Again, Raptors offense can't get much going. Miami scores another 22. Problem, Raptors only scores 17. You're -5. But you're still up by 9 heading into the fourth quarter. That's all right. Hey, now you got to close the game strong. This is where great teams are good. When you have the lead going into the fourth, you shut the door. Early in the year, the Raptors were not doing so. And I didn't realize the stat until I saw it on TV today. The Raptors heading into the fourth quarter with a deficit. They haven't won a game this year. So they had the lead by 9 going into the fourth. You gotta close this game out. And they did just that. There was one moment in that fourth quarter where they got it down to like 6, but then the Raptors got it right back up again. The Raptors won that fourth quarter by 11, 28-17. They got their offense flowing near the end. OG Anunoby was spectacular. Pascal made some huge plays down the stretch. Terrence Davis made some buckets. And Stanley Johnson in the fourth quarter, this guy's been incredible this season. He's done a ridiculously good job. You don't even have to write down numbers because I don't even have stats written down for him because you don't even need to. You see the defensive intensity. I think he had a steal late in the ball game today. A beautiful assist to Chris Boucher on the dunk, right? And he knocked down a huge 3 when it was a 6-point game and they were on that 5-0 run. Who knocks down the 3 to get the Raptors back up 9? Stanley Johnson. Those were his only points of the game, but it was a huge big-time 3 at that point in the game. So a great job. And the Raptors, like I said, win that quarter 28-17 and win the ball game 101-81. Now, let's get to the individuals and talk about who did what and how these guys perform, okay? Pascal Siakam, 15 points. People are going to go absolutely bonkers saying that's not good enough. Well, he also had 14 rebounds and 5 assists. Remember, he's checking Bam Adebayo, right? Even if he's not checking Adebayo, they're always going to try and switch to have Pascal on Adebayo on the offensive end. So getting the double-double, shooting 6 of 12, and he had 2 steals in the game. Pascal played a really solid game today. Yeah, people are going to look at the points and be like, well, he's getting the big money. Points are really what matters. If you watch that game today, I thought Pascal was really solid. He was confident. He was aggressive on the defensive end, causing havoc, getting 2 steals, and he was great on the offensive glass as well. I think he did a really, really good job today, even though he only had 15. All right, Fred VanVleet, the shooting struggles continue, but as you know from Fred VanVleet, the guy's going to do everything else to help your team win. He only had 13 points in the game, 5 rebounds, 7 dimes, shot 4 of 14 and 1 of 6 from 3, but he had 2 steals in the game. Fred's just going to give you everything else when he's having an off shooting night, kind of what Kyle Lowry does for us on really every given night. And the 2 guys that stepped up today and were phenomenal, and one of these guys has been consistently great lately, OG Anunoby. Are we seeing him develop before our very eyes, guys? I mean, I'm trying to not get too hyped because we've seen this OG before, but then he all of a sudden goes on a tear of missing shots, and we're like, well, that was short-lived. But right now, OG Anunoby, guys, is playing at an absolutely fantastic pace. In the game today, he had a season high, 21 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, shot 8 of 12, was 10, where are we here? 5 of 6 from 3, a season high, 5 of 6 from 3, and he also gave you 2 steals because that is where OG's bread and butter is on the defensive end. He's been spectacular lately. He's been grinding. He's been fighting on the defensive end, and he's been phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal as OG Anunoby been as of late, and contributing to this huge win, massive. Norm Powell finished the game with 23 points and 3 boards, shot 10 for 18, was 3 of 10 from 3, so obviously, you know, the distance shooting kind of slowed down as the game went along, but he still shot 10 of 18, had 23 in the starting lineup. Great job by Norman Powell, coming out of the gate flying and setting that pace early on in the ball game. Terrence Davis, back-to-back games in double figures for him. He had 12 points, 1 board, 1 assist on 5 of 10 shooting, so a great game for Terrence Davis. That he was really active. And what I noticed with TD2 earlier on in the year, he was just missing a lot of wide open shots. He was missing a lot of easy layups. I'm like, man, that's not him. That's not what we saw last year. Right? And especially in a game like this, I thought, there was one nice reverse layup that he had, and I'm like, okay, then that's Terrence Davis. Knocked down a couple threes. I'm like, okay, TD, that's what you like to see. Now, I have 2 other guys written down here. We talked about Stanley Johnson and the incredible plays that he did all game long, more specifically in that 4th quarter, locking in on defense, being the facilitator on offense, and knocking down a big 3. Just being everything you need out there for a bench guy. Fantastic job by Stanley Johnson. And one of the first times this year I'm going to praise this guy, but it is well-deserved today. And people can get mad at him because he only had 3 points. But Aaron Baines. It's hard to defend a guy when he only has 3 points and 6 rebounds, but the fact that he had 6 rebounds, had 2 blocks, and had a huge block in this game. Who was it on? Was it Adebayo? I can't remember who he blocked. It was none. I can't remember who it was, but he had some really big plays today. He played 23 minutes. He was a +5 on the floor. He didn't hurt the team at all. I thought he did a really good job out there today. Now, is this going to be consistent Aaron Baines that we're going to be seeing night in, night out? Only time is going to tell. But that if that is an indication of how things are going for him, that's great to see for Aaron Baines. Plus, he knocked the only 3 points he had. He knocked down to 3, so that's always a positive for Aaron Baines. So those are kind of the stats that I wanted to run through player-wise. Now, let's get to some team stats that kind of jumped out at me as big, okay? The Miami Heat made only 7 threes, shot 23% from 3. That ain't good. And we talked about it in the last video, guys. We said how the Raptors and the Heat are such a good interior defensive team. Both teams are, right? So really, we're talking about, okay, who shoots the 3 better? They're probably going to win that game. Who shot the 3 better in the last game? Miami. They won the ball game. Who shot the 3 better today? The Raptors were 42% from beyond the arc. They were incredible to start the game, but they ended up 42%. They shot 23%. Raptors won by 20. There you go. All right? And a big thing, if there's one thing that I want to knock this Raptor team on, it's the 21 turnovers in the game today. I think they played a really good game except for that. But that's the only thing that really jumped out at me for the Raptors that I just wasn't a huge fan of in the game today. And a big thing that I love to see is the Miami Heat never led in this game, not once. And what that told me is the Raptors, look, as much as they got that big lead, and they may have bent, right? They got it down to 5, they got it to 6 points and whatnot, but the Raptors bent but never broke. And then at the end, they made that final punch to win the ball game. That is a full team effort. I don't care that they didn't have Jimmy Butler or Tyler Hero. They didn't have him in the last game, and they still beat us up. So we'll take the win for what it is. Raptors are now 6-9 on the season. They've won 4 of 5. If you want to look at it that way, they're playing much better basketball. And the next contest for the Toronto Raptors is on Sunday, same as the Leafs. Why can't we have one game on one day? It just can't happen that way. 1 p.m. tip-off against the Indiana Pacers. It was initially going to be a 3:30 start, but they moved it up to 1 o'clock. In Indiana, so the Raptors are away from Amalie Arena for a little bit. All right, so you know what, guys? That is going to do it for this one. If you enjoyed the video and enjoyed the game this evening, because it was a damn good basketball game down at Amalie Arena, smack the like button to appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below your thoughts on the video, your thoughts on the game. Would you like, would you not like from today's game? All right, who's your MVP in today's game? I got to give it to my main man, OG Anunoby. As much as I'd love to give it to Norm, I would love to give it like a 1A, 1B, but for OG, because of the lockdown defense late in the game and a couple big buckets late in this basketball game from OG Anunoby, that's where I'm going to give it to him. Norm had the great start, but OG, final punch to beat the Miami Heat. That's my guy in today's game. If you think it's Norm or anybody else, could be Pascal with a double-double. Let me know in the comments below, guys, all right? Twitter is down below for myself. Follow up, send me a DM, do all that great stuff. Also, the Instagram link is down in the description, so follow up there if you've not done so already. And I will talk to you guys, Leafs edition, very shortly as they beat the Edmonton Oilers. So it's funny. Both teams played 2 days ago against the same team. Both teams lost. Both teams play the same both teams today. Right, both Toronto teams won. I don't know what it is. It's nice. It's nice to have both teams win, but it's abysmally miserable when they both lose. So, but it's nice right now. Enjoy today for what it is. All right, I'll talk to you guys Leafs edition very shortly as they beat the Edmonton Oilers, and I'll talk to you guys on Sunday. Well, it'll probably be, late afternoon, very early evening. Raptors edition, 1 p.m. tip-off in Indiana, taking on the Pacers. All right, Raptors looking for 2 straight wins and for win number 5 out of 6. All right, so thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Hope you guys know the video. Talk to you guys then.